I walked over the grass, carrying a pile of wool blankets. We were selling up for tonight's full moon celebrations. I love these monthly gatherings of the pack. We eat, laugh, tell stories of the pack's history and of the gods. Then those that can shift will run in the woods. The rest of us, we stay behind and pretend we aren't bias of the others. For 18 years I have been part of the group who was left by the fire to watch the pups and make sure the Fi stays in the fire pit. It was getting old. I wanted my wolf to come to me. I wanted to prove I wasn't a dud. Hi, Pumpkin. I turned toward the sound of my father and smiled. I had been out checking the woods together with the Alpha and Gamma in preparation for the night. Hi, Dad, I called as I placed the blankets down on a log and then took some of them and placed on other logs we used to sit on around the fire. They were more for coziness than for warmth. All werewolves ran hut. Even those like me who didn't have a wolf. Tet, I added, looking forward to tomorrow. The Alpha Mark asked as he, Gamma Jonas and my father walked up to me. Kind of, I said. Been all of their friends, had. Gamma, what do you mean, kind of, green bean? Gamma Jonas asked. My father and the Alpha were. Te best F lives. No one had been surprised when Alpha Mark had named my father his Beta and Jonas his Gamma as he took over the running of the pack from his father. That had been years before me and my brother were born. We grew up with the Alpha and to be families is an extension of our own. My brother, Elder, was best friends with James, the Alpha's son. Everyone expected best friends with Cindy, Gamma Jonas's daughter. But we didn't get along at all. We just remained on friendly terms because of our families. I think my Pumpkin is nervous. Turning 18 is a big step, Dad said, placing his arm around me and pulling me to his side. That's right. She will be able to sense her mate and he will be able to identify her if they both are over 18, the Alpha said with a big smile. She's too young for that kind of thing. My dad scowled and both of his friends burst out laughing. My dad and Alpha Mark were. I had never partly right. I was nervous about being able to sense my mate. But there was more. My wolf still hadn't come to me, been able to shift, and for each full moon that came and went one looked weaker in the eyes of other werewolves. You started to be able to shift between the age of 16 and 25. Everyone knew the younger you were when your wolf came, the stronger it, and therefore you, would be. James had shifted for the first time a month after turning 16, my brother 7 months after his 16th birthday. Cindy had been a little over 17 when she shifted. I was almost 18 and I hadn't even felt a slight tingle during a full moon. I was afraid that if I found my mate, he would think I was too weak. You're not still worried about your wolf, are you, little one? The Alpha asked. I nodded. We had had this conversation many times in the last 2 years. Armeria Rose Winstone, 2 years is nothing, he will come to you, he said. I flinched as he used my full name. My mother has a thing for all things growing and has named her only 2 children after her favorite plants. My father didn't object because he loves her too much to not let her have her way. I know, Alpha, I said. You are perfect, just the way you are, Pumpkin, my father said and kissed the top of my head. You have to say that, you're my father, I pointed out. And if some boy tells you anything else, you tell us and we will beat his ass. Thank you, Uncle Jonas, I said. Any time, he told me and ruffled my hair. I objected and tried to get away, but my father laughed and kept me in place. I hated when people messed with my hair. It was hard to keep under control with its red curls at the best of times, but mess with it and it. 1/3 chapter just became one big poof of tangles and frizz. Okay, enough lazing around, move your asses. I will see you later tonight, little one, and after midnight we will celebrate your big day, the Alpha told us. Of them fine, we're coming, my father sighed with pretend annoyance. Sometimes I think the 3 of them are stuck in a permanent teenager mode, and it scares me a little to think of them running the pack. But they are good at it. Our pack is one of the strongest and most highly thought of packs in the world. It's a pride to all of us. My father and his 2 friends continued their inspection. I got back to my tasks for the evening. Usually I would help my mother as she and some other women prepared the food. But I had been put on other duties and I'm guessing, and hoping, it's because they are working on a surprise cake for my birthday. As I walked over to Sally, Jonas' mate, To get information about which games she has been planning for the pups. I tried to remember that I'm lucky. I have a good family, I have good friends and a good pack. So what if I don't have a wolf? 3 out of 4 isn't a bad thing, right? And if I found my mate and he loves me as mates do, then I have 4 out of 5. That would be fantastic. Unless he rejects you because you don't have a wolf, a small voice in my head leapt saying. It's like the voice is a broken record, playing over and over again in my head. Hours later, I was sitting in front of the fire, laughing along with the others as Nick, one of the oldest warriors in the pack, was telling the story about how he had defeated a swarm of vampires. The number of vampires went up for each full moon. But we all loved listening to him telling the story. Most of the pack members were running in their wolf form in the surrounding forest. I still hadn't felt the need to shift, so as usual I volunteered to watch the pups and keep an eye on the teenagers. It was just after midnight when the pack started to return. In groups or pairs they came walking out of the woods. They were all smiling and looked relaxed. I wondered why they were heading back so early when my mother and Luna Joy came walking with a birthday cake between them. I could feel my eyes grow big as I looked at the amazing creation that was put down in front of me. It was 3 tiers tall with white frosting and covered in sugar flowers. It looked like a flower meadow. On top 2 candles burned, a 1 and an 8. Happy birthday, sweetie, my mother said. Thank you, Mom. My mother hugged me, and then Luna Joy drew me into a tight hug as well. I hope you will find your mate soon and that he is everything you hope for and deserve, Luna whispered to me. Thank you, Luna, I said. Time to blow out the candles and make a wish, pumpkin, my dad said as he joined us. Not yet. Elder isn't here yet, my mother pointed out. He is off with James and Cindy, Luna Joy said as she snuggled up to the alpha. I can wait, I offered, which earned me a smile from the alpha pair. Honestly, the whole pack is here and we are waiting on our son, my mother said, and I could hear the impatience in her voice. I heard my brother and our friends before I saw them. My brother came half running out of the forest, closely followed by James. While Cindy took her time. Sorry, I didn't realize how deep into the forest we had run. You didn't blow out the candles yet, did you? Elder asked. No, she has been waiting, our mother told him, giving him a look that told everyone she wasn't happy. Sorry, he said again. I wasn't paying any attention to what my brother was saying. My full attention was on the scent of sandalwood and pineapple. Even without my wolf, I knew it was the scent of my mate. I turned towards it as I saw James standing at the edge of the forest, looking back at me with just as much surprise as I felt. James, the alpha's son, was my mate. Armeria, James said. He said it in a low, wistful voice. James, I answered. I hardly noticed how everyone around us cleared the space, giving us a clear view of each other. It was important to give a newly mated pair space as the protectiveness was at an all-time high until they had claimed each other. I faintly heard my father and the alpha laughing as they congratulated each other. I saw a shadow pass over James's face and I knew him well enough that my heart and stomach sank. Amy, James said, using the nickname the Pock use. His voice was sad and I tried to brace for what I knew was coming. He took a few steps towards me, but I couldn't move, I couldn't look away from his eyes. They told me what he was going to say before he let the words fly. I'm sorry, Amy, but I can't. You know I can't, he said. I know it was coming, but still, each word felt like a physical punch. The pack had gone deadly silent, everyone was listening, and for a moment, I wished James's words had been physical punches. Then I would have a chance to pass out, or die. Anything but stand in the middle of the pack being rejected by the one person who should love me above all others. I will become Alpha CE Day. I need a strong Luna, James continued, as if he didn't know he was tearing my heart from my body. Amy, you don't have wolf, even if you get one, we all know it will be weak. I love you, you know I do. But my duty is to the pack, and this pack deserves a strong Luna, he finished. There was only silence for a long while. I tried to find my words. My first instinct was to plead, to tell James the first could be anything he wanted me to be. I could change, but the part of me that made my mother sigh in despair and complain about how stubborn her daughter was, held me back. Son, the alpha gently said, you don't need to do this now. It would be cruel to give her hope. I won't do that to her, James said. You need to think this through, son. This is not the place or the time. There was a warning in the Alpha's voice. I won't change my mind, James insisted. I felt my father and mother walk up to flank me. My mother put her arm around my waist. James, think about what you are doing, you are mates. The gods have decided you complete each other, my father said. I'm sorry, was all James said. You won't be able to join the games. My father's voice was cold and a murmur in the pack followed his words. The games were how the packs determined influence and the amount of votes they would get at the yearly pack summit. The games were held every 10th year, and each pack sent the 5 most promising pack members and a support staff to enter. It was not just physical challenges they would face. Everything was tested, from strength to endurance to intelligence and cunning. My pack always ended up in the top 10. The last 50 years we had been in the top 5. To be one of the 5 pack members sent to the games, you had to be over 18 and in full physical and mental health. What my father had pointed out was that the break of a mate bond was considered to be a mental wound. The council would demand at least 3 months to heal from it before they deemed someone to be in full health. The games were in a month's time. James looked like he reconsidered his decision, and my hope flared. I knew how much he and my brother had been looking forward to entering the games. We had all trained hard, even me, and the Alpha would be announcing the selected representatives any day. So be it, I will sit this year's games out and join the next ones, he then said, the determination clear on his face. The last ember of hope was extinguished in my chest. I vaguely heard Luna Joy saying something, but I had stopped listening. My hands had been clenched by my sides until now, but I reached for my mother and took a hold of her arm. I can't be here anymore, I mindlinked her. I heard the soft whimper that came from her as she pulled me into a hug, placing herself between me and James and leading me away. The pack gave way as we walked towards our house. I was numb from the pain that radiated in me. I saw the looks the other pack members were giving me, but I tried not to register them. It was bad enough to be pitied for not having a wolf. Now they would pity me for being rejected by the future Alpha as well. Some of them reached out and gently ran their hands over my arms as we passed. Was a sign of comfort and support, but it didn't help. I remembered the promise Uncle Jonas had given only hours before. That he and his friends would beat any male that thought me weak. I guess that didn't apply when the male was your best friend's son and the future Alpha. I felt the bitterness of my own thoughts and it was what made the first broken sob escape me. To my relief, my mother and I were almost at our home and we had long since left the pack behind us. My mother tightened her hold and made soft coping sounds that reminded me of my childhood, when I used to fall and bruise my knees. 1/3. Chapter 2. Let's sit on the couch for a while, my mother suggested. I just shook my head. I wanted to crawl into my bed and never get out of it again. Okay, sweetie, she agreed without me having to say will. She just looked me upstairs, helped me out of my clothes and into my sleep sheet before fucking he tossed to bed. I curled into a ball, my knees tight to my chest and my arms hugging them. My back was to my mother as she sat down on the bed and stroked my halt and gently hummed the old lullabies she used to sing for me in Elder. My tears finally came and once the first one rolled down my cheek, the rest followed. I was quietly crying while my body trembled from the power of the toe emotions rolling through me. One hour the door opened and closed downstairs and I felt the scent of my father. I may not have a wall, but my smell, eyesight and hearing was still better than a human's but nowhere near a werewolf's. My father walked into my room and sat down next to my mother on my bed. No one spoke, but I felt his heavy hand on my leg. I don't know how long we stayed like that. It could have been hours, minutes. Somewhere along the way, I stopped crying and my body settled down. The pain still remained, no less than before. My mind started to move again even though I suspected my parents thought I was asleep. I noticed the absence of my brother. It hurt almost as much as my mate's rejection. He had chosen Fames over me. I had a hard time believing it. It was true he was best friends with the future Alpha, but he and I had always been close, at least I had thought so. There was a knock on the front door and my father left. Being raised werewolf meant learning not to eavesdrop on conversations despite being able to. But I felt like I had a right to listen in now. It most likely was something regarding me anyway. How is she doing? It was the alpha. It seemed my father had taken him into his study, as far away as they could go from my bedroom. How do you think she is doing? I was shocked by the anger and disrespect in my father's voice. I had never heard him talk to anyone like that, especially not his best friend and alpha. She has spoken, not after what James did to her. I'm sorry, Ron. The alpha sounded honest. His mind is made up. My father asked. It is. What will you do? What do you mean, Ron? The alpha asked. Do you expect my daughter to live in the same pack as the male that ripped her heart out and stomped on it in front of the entire pack? You know as well as I do what our rules are. If someone breaks the mate bond without a good reason. My father's voice was low, full of tension. Ron, you can't think I would ever make James, my only son, go live in another pack. Banish him from the pack he was born to lead. Why not? No one is above the law. The law is in place to protect the innocent victim. Amy is the victim here, my father insisted. What James did, he didn't handle it correctly. But he had a good reason to do what he did. I almost drew in a sharp breath, but caught myself in time. I didn't want my mother knowing I was listening to the conversation. What the fuck are you saying? My father spit out. She will have a weak wolf, if she gets a wolf at all. James had a good reason to reject her, the alpha said. My mother got up to answer. Melissa, I made some tea. How is she doing? Luna Joy asked. Thank you, but I'm fine. She is holding on and being strong, my mother said. There was a tone of dismissal in her voice. She telling Lana she wasn't welcome. I was hoping to sit with her for a while. To see if I can't be of some help or comfort, Luna Joy sulked. I don't think that's a good idea. Armeria needs her family at the moment. Melissa, Luna gasped. I would like to think of myself as family. We have always been close since we mated Mark and Ron. I would have said the same yesterday. But after what there was a pause, as if my mother needed time to compose herself. After what your son did to my baby, I think we need to rethink certain things. I need to protect Armeria and put her first. We both know how this will affect her. We both know the pack won't give her the same protection they would give someone rejected by a wolf who isn't the future alpha would get. The least I can do is make sure she is around the right people. I love her like a daughter, Luna objected. But not enough to fight for her right to become your daughter by mating. Loy, you are my Luna and I will respect and obey you in all but this. My daughter is out of bounds for anyone in your family from this day, my mother said, and the door to my room closed. I felt the bed dip as my mother sat down and continued to stroke my hair. In the middle of all my pain, I felt the love from my parents and it soothed some of it. At least 2 people in this world loved me. But it also made me sad. Because of me, they were now at odds with their closest friends, their alpha pair. This wouldn't just affect our 2 families. If the alpha and beta couple were in conflict, that would have an impact on the whole pack. And even though my brother had chosen James, I wanted to pretend he had struggled with the decision before making it. It seemed like I was making everyone's lives more complicated. As I couldn't sleep, and I didn't want my mother to think I was awake, I spent the rest of the night thinking. By the time my brother arrived back home after the sun had risen, I had reached a decision. During the early morning hours, I relaxed a little and let go of my knees. I heard my brother get home, walk upstairs and open the door to my room. My knees drew up to my chest again. How is she? Elder asked our mother. Enduring. Your father needs to speak with you. We need to find a way to protect your sister, she said. I'll go and talk to him. After I can sit with her so you can rest, he offered. I didn't want him to sit with me. I knew my brother's betrayal wasn't big in the grand scheme of things. But at the moment my heart and soul were raw, like they both had got a sunburn that meant even a tiny speck of sand felt like agony when rubbing against it. I'm fine. I will stay with her until she wakes up, Mother said. I was eternally grateful to her. I heard my brother go downstairs, and I heard enough of his conversation with our father to know they were discussing if sending me away to another pack would be a good solution. After a while, I stopped listening. The conversation only confirmed what I already knew. I was causing problems for my family. I didn't have a wolf and therefore I had become a burden. It was up to me to solve all the problems I had created. I turned around and looked at my mother. She smiled down at me and let her hand caress my cheek. I didn't have it in me to smile back, but I turned into her hand. My brave and strong daughter, we will get you through this and you will dazzle the world, she told me, and kissed my forehead. If I could have smiled, I would have. My mother was amazing and my insides burned with the guilt that I was causing so much problems for her. I just nodded. Are you hungry? She asked, but I shook my head. Instead, I reached out my arms towards her, like had done when I was little. She gave me a sad smile and drew me into a long hug. Then I lay back down, this time facing the door. My mother continued to sit with me. It didn't take long for the door to open and my father to come inside. He looked so tired it almost made me cry all over again. Hey, Pumpkin, your mom told me you were up. Want me to make you some of my famous spaghetti? He asked as he kneeled by my bed so he could look me in the eyes. My father's famous spaghetti was just boiled noodles with cut-up hot dogs and lots of ketchup. 1/3. Chapter 3. My dad couldn't cook to save his life, but on Today's my mom needed break from cooking or was away, he made us his spaghetti. Both me and Ider loved it as I was something my mother would never let us eat. It became our comfort food in a way. I just shook my head. Okay, baby girl, it will all be okay. I will make it okay, he said and kissed me on my head. A single tear ran down my cheek. I knew he meant it. He would stop at nothing to make sure I was happy again. It was up to me to make sure he didn't have an elder came into my room as well. The look he gave me told me his sorry he was for me. I can sit with her for a while, he offered again. I saw my mother start to object, but I put my hand on hers and nodded. Are you sure? I don't mind staying, she said. I just nodded. Okay, Pumpkin, I will make sure your mother gets some rest. But we will be back in 2 hours and we will bring food. I'm expecting you to eat. Okay, my father asked. I nodded. Good girl. One got a kiss from both of them on my head before they left. Elder took my mother's place on the bed. I don't know what to do, he said. I looked up at him and saved the girl of emotions in his eyes. He must feel so torn and like being pulled in all directions. His love for me, his loyalty to family, his befriend, the future he had envisaged and trained for, the loyalty to the pack and to his alpha. They were all tugging at him. I took his hand and squeezed it. Tears ran down his face. Look at me, here I am supposed to comfort you and I'm the one hauling my eyes and you are the one comforting me, he sniffed. I sat up and kissed his cheek. He was a good brother, even if he had his flaws. I wish I could change his mind, that I could make him see what an idiot he is. The gods know I have tried, but it's like he is obsessed with strength. I can't even get him to see there are different strengths. That you possess so many of them, even if you don't possess the physical kind, he told me. I understood then where he had been all night. He hadn't forsaken me for James. It was the first time since the rejection I felt a small piece of warmth. I hugged him and we sat like that until I noticed the subtle change in his body and looked at him. He was mingling with someone and I could guess who. When they were done I nudged him to get up. No, Amy, I'm staying. He objected. I just shook my head and pushed him harder. Okay, I'll go, I'll just wake Dad, he said. Let him sleep, he is tired. I'm just going to go back to sleep anyway. I'll be fine. I mingled him. Are you sure? He answered me. I am. Thank you for staying with me. He gave me a hug and then left. As soon as I heard his footsteps leave the garden, I listened to make sure my parents were asleep. I got up and took out a backpack. I filled it with some clothes, some things that were most precious to me, and sneaked down into the kitchen to ransack the pantry, stuffing it into a separate bag. I put the 2 bags into my car and went back to the house, trying to be as quiet as I could. It was my speciality. Even without a wolf, I was good at sneaking around. I took the blanket my mother had knitted me and sat down to write a note. I starred on the blank page forever. There was so much I wanted to write, things that should be said in person and bought written down on paper. But I knew if I waited for my parents to awake, they would never let me leave. Dear Mom, Dad and Elder, I love you all so much and I know you love me. That is why I need to leave. I can't let you destroy your friendships and standing in the pack for me. Know that I see how much you love me by your actions and know that I will always carry that knowledge in my heart and honor it. Please don't be angry with the Alpha family, Please don't destroy something that is so important to all of you. I will leave so I can find a new life and so you can live yours as it was intended. Please don't try to find me, you have raised me well and I will be fine. I love you always. With love. A. Left the note on my bed with my set of house keys. Then I made my way downstairs and took a storm kitchen and a tent out of our storage. Making sure everything I needed was in the glove department in the car, I took a last look at the house that had been my home for 18 years and I drove off.